Welcome to the First Mentor podcast. Here, you will hear us talk about a variety of topics for the entire family that will hopefully spark a discussion, create a new curiosity, or simply teach you something new. The goal is to inspire you to learn life skills and soft skills not taught in school and prepare you to live an extraordinary life. Come on and spend some time with us on your commute to school or anytime you're free.
Hello everyone. Guten Tag, ni hao, hola, and bonjour. I am so thrilled to finally share the First Mentor podcast with the world. This has been such a roller coaster ride for this former accountant to become a podcaster. You can't even imagine. And this is your host and mentor, Vanessa Yang. After much reflection, I decided to start with how acting can improve your soft skills as our very first episode, because I feel that soft skills are so fundamental, and combined with technical skills, or known as hard skills, it will make you achieve great success in life. And what are soft skills, some of you might ask? Soft skills are defined as personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. And soft skills are including areas such as social skills, people skills, your attitude, mindset, communication skills, EQ, which is known for emotional intelligence, and many, many others. So therefore, I have invited our guest today, Mae Ross, who's the founder of 321 Acting Studios in Los Angeles, to become my guest. And we'll be talking about how taking acting classes and going on auditions will develop numerous soft skills that will benefit you well beyond a career as an actor or actress. And at the end, please make sure to subscribe or add us to your favorite list. We would also love your suggestions on future topics in the review sections. So thanks for joining us today. And today we have a very, very special guest on the episode of this podcast, Mae Ross. We all call her Miss Mae lovingly, from 321 Acting Studios. Welcome to our podcast, Miss Mae.
Oh, thank you so much, Vanessa. It's really great to be here.
Awesome. And I wanted to start right away, just learn a little bit more about your background, your story, and how you entered the world of entertainment. So can you share with our listeners how you got into this?
Yes, I would love to. I was one of those, at 5 years old, tugging on my mom's apron going, I want to be a dancer. I want to sing, dance, and act. And so luckily, she was one to give my sister and I, who was my identical twin, Frances. Yes. Uh-huh. So we got into dancing and acting and modeling and all that good stuff. And when we were 10, we went more professional, 10 years old. We ended up in The Music Man, which is a Broadway musical.
Oh, wow.
And we toured California and did, I don't know, my goodness, maybe 75 performances. So that's what it all started. And then as I moved into my teens, started teaching dance, and then late teens got into acting and modeling and dancing in the San Francisco Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And then moved down here after some shows closed in San Francisco, moved down here to Los Angeles, and the rest is history.
Wow. So you were an entertainer yourself at a very, very young age, and you've done it all.
I have. I've been in all the industries. Yes. Acting, right? Modeling, dancing, singing. If I wasn't dancing, I was modeling. If I was modeling, I was acting. If I wasn't acting, I was singing, or I was teaching. I started teaching acting pretty soon in my career, and I've loved it. Just loved it.
Yes. And what led you to start 321 Acting Studios?
That's a good question. What happened is that I had gotten offered a job at an acting studio here in Los Angeles. And once I came in and started teaching, I think they saw me coming. They went, we want you to direct the school. So I directed that school for many years. And then they closed. The school closed. And in 2007, I thought, well, I think I can do this myself. Mm-hmm. So I actually started out small. I actually rented a very small little dance studio, actually. And that's how I started. I started with a TV cart and a cart and a few students, and just put myself on Facebook. And before you know it, I had a few students, and that's how it started. Just, I thought, well, I'm going to go out on my own, and it's been great.
I love it. I think it's so important for, I think, the younger generation just to learn that they don't have to be perfect, right? You could just start and learn along the way. I think that's a very, very important lesson.
That's it. Just be bold, learn to just go for it. If you have passion for what you want, if you have passion for it, you'll never work a day in your life. It's just, you do what you love, find out what you love, experiment, right? So check out a few things. Don't just be one-minded. You want to be open-minded. Love
that. Love that. And that's what we did. As my kids were growing up, I was looking for all sorts of classes because I didn't want them. Well, I'm still a tiger mom, I was told. So I still expect excellence in academia. But at the same time, because I was raised both in European and Asian culture, I tried to think outside the box, and I was looking for all sorts of different classes that they could take that would really also develop soft skills, leadership skills, and everything else that are not taught in school, right? And that's how I came across acting classes.
Yes, and what a great mom you are, because it's true where, the kids can have the academia and they could really, be very well learned and book study and all that. And what they could be missing is the more creative side, where they use their imagination and they solve problems through creativity. Because even if you're a rocket scientist, you do need to think out of the box. As you mentioned, you were looking for something out of academia so that they could develop more who they are as a person, and to discover those wonderful, unique things about themselves, so that they can come up with their own ideas. So they formulate their own ideas. They don't get it from a book. They get it from their own imagination. Yes.
And that's so important. That's why kids, they learn through playing. They have such an active imagination. But I think now with today's society, everything is just spoon-fed to you, right? You sit there in a very passive state. You play your games. You watch your TV shows. But at the end, unfortunately, everything is so passive. So I agree with you completely that imagination is so, so important.
It's so, so important. And, with your lovely children, they came in very disciplined. They were hard workers. They were eager to learn. And, of course, that's why I put them in our signature program, which is our showcase and acting career program, because I knew that they would really look good, and then of course it would make me look good too. So as you see, look at all the wonderful benefits they got out of acting.
Yes, definitely. And I wanted to definitely hone into those benefits. But before we get into it, I wanted to share with our listeners, because you've seen all kinds of kids, age-wise, size, shape, personality, what have you, start not just their career in acting through your school, but also develop personality and different soft skills. And what do you say to parents who tell you or ask you, oh, my kids might be too shy? Because I've had those questions from friends before whose kids were really shy. And I actually say that's exactly why you need to go. But
yes, thank you.
Perspective.
Thank you, Vanessa. You can come work for me. That's exactly right. I go, that's precisely why you want to get your child in an acting class, is because they are shy and they're too self-conscious. And so when you're in improv play and you're with the rest of the class, and it'll really, really bring them out of their shell. And I know people think of other activities like dancing and things like that, but acting is just, they're using their voice, they're using their bodies, they're using themselves, and they're bringing themselves up. So it does break them out of their shells.
Right. And I've seen that in the different performing arts, I guess even on stage when my kids took summer camps, I've seen some of their shyest classmates just blossom on stage. But
yes.
A different side of them was amazing to observe.
Oh, it's such a reward. One of our slogans here at 321 is be loud and proud. You probably remember that. I said, okay, loud and proud. Say your name, first name, last name, and age, loud and proud. And, they would do it. they're students, they're kids, they want to do well in class. That's why they're here. And they decided to be here. Even if they're 4, 5, 6, 7, doesn't matter. Their parents really can't force them.
Yes.
And if they do, it doesn't work. But once they arrive here and they get here, they want to do well. And so we tell them, okay, loud and proud, even if they're shy.
I remember that.
And by the third week, they're teaching class,
Yes. So maybe we could dive a little bit deeper about specific skills that kids learn in the different classes when they enroll through your programs, for example.
Oh, yes. Well, our mission statement says that our passion is to instill greater confidence and life skills in our students by providing inspiring acting classes taught by expert instructors in a creative, positive, nurturing environment. I think I got that right.
It sounds very good to me.
I know it took me about a month. It took me a month to write that. So that is the core value. That's why we and my teachers, we all can't wait to get here, is because, we are helping them with their confidence. So through the skills of acting. So that would be, voice and diction, improvisation, play, telling stories. Self-confidence is the number one. Mm-hmm. And concentration. I mean, that's a skill that is very important for anybody. And focus, and also sustained concentration.
Yes.
Right. And then we talk about the public speaking skills, because as a public speaker, you are required you want to move your audience. You want to be able to be dynamic and grip your listeners. And that's what acting will teach, because you need to access your emotions. So by accessing your emotions, you get out of your head, and you're really getting that audience to listen to you. And we talk about being persuasive. Well, in life, in everyday life, no matter what situation, we need to be moving forward and getting somewhere with what we want. And so it's a win-win, right?
And I think really kids should learn all those skills that you mentioned. The younger, the better, because it comes second nature. They don't have to think. It's just part of their DNA, so to speak. The younger they learn it.
Well, I think so too, because when they start to trust their imagination, when they're doing an improv and making things up, I say your first idea is the best idea, so that they learn that. And then what's great about improvisation is that the other actor needs to accept what they've said. So it's a rule called yes and. Mm-hmm. So if I say, this is a white tiger crying, they go, oh, it's a white tiger crying. So what's so great about improv is that whatever the actor says gets accepted. So nothing is wrong or right. And that builds self-esteem. It makes the kid feel worthy. Oh my goodness, they accepted my white tiger, elephant, whatever, crying. And so that builds their self-esteem. And that is worth its weight in gold. Whatever they say is right.
Improvisation is actually one of the favorite classes that I had my kids take, because it just teaches them to think quickly on their feet. Life is nothing goes as planned. I've learned to accept that. Even though I'm a planner, I love to plan everything, but I've learned also that something will always go wrong. That's just part of life.
Right. You're an accountant. So, the numbers line up, and everything, you cross your T's and dot your I's, and everything lines up. But, one thing that I teach here is to expect the unexpected. Mm-hmm. And so prepare. What acting does in improvisation, it prepares children for the unexpected. And then they will be able to take the initiative and not be in fear, and be able to participate, be able to converse, be able to not be afraid if something doesn't go the way they think. They can go with the flow.
Yes, absolutely. And I think what everybody kind of knows, that public speaking or being in front of the audience is one of the biggest fears in life. It doesn't matter how old you are. I think sometimes as an adult, you become even more self-conscious, or as a teen. I've seen my kids, like when they were younger, they just were fearless and would dance on a table if I would let them. But as they grow up, all of a sudden...
But you wouldn't let them dance on the table.
No, maybe under. Just kidding. But I would say as they become older, it's more like they became so self-conscious, like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, because they're so afraid of what others would think about them. And so to me, it's like learning public, because I've learned it's not just for school. You have to do presentation in school all throughout college. It doesn't go away. And you think it ends in college, but it doesn't, because at
Does not.
work, more presentation comes along. So the sooner you accept the fact that you have to do it, the better.
That's right. You're always presenting yourself in every level, whether you're a CEO, doctor, lawyer, health worker, part of a team in a startup. It doesn't matter. You're presenting yourself all the time, and you're presenting your ideas. So once again, I always want to, cycle back into the confidence. So the confidence that acting gives people will help them feel good in any situation.
Yes.
So, and also what's great about it is that actors have to listen. And so the listening aspect of the training will really help the actor, the person, be open-minded and be more amenable and more acceptable to what the other person's saying. So let's say you're working at a startup and you're sharing ideas within a team or within employees. You're going to be more apt to want to listen and to hear, and that makes you a more likable person.
Absolutely.
So when people are liking you more, then you're feeling good about yourself. And if you feel good about yourself, then you're going to go do better in life. You're not going to be shaken if somebody says something that's a little off base or that's maybe hurt your feelings or something. You're going to be able to go, okay, I can deal with this.
Yes, absolutely. I think listening is another skill that a lot of people either somehow it got lost in the trenches. A lot of us really just try to hear and they're waiting to answer. I've read that people don't listen actively. They just wait for you to finish so they can start to insert their opinion into the other party. But overall, listening is really, really important. You need to understand and repeat and be able to understand where this other person is coming from and what they said, how they feel, and their opinions.
Right. You don't have to agree with all, but you need to consider their feelings. And that's what actors learn to do, is to consider the feelings, know the feelings, accept others' ideas. And within that part is also the empathy, that you learn by doing different scenes. Actors are storytellers, and they're telling you how to live. Usually the bad guy gets it. At least we hope so.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of that, and also to be human, right?
Yes.
We're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. You just pick yourself up and you keep going. You just keep on trucking, right? As they say.
Yes, absolutely. Love that. So I know we've gotten into a little bit about the benefits already, but I wanted to go a little bit further into talking about how kids, teens, tweens, what have you, young adults, really, if they say, okay, I don't want to be an actor, why should I take those classes? And I talked about a lot of those, public speaking, confidence. The other thing, what I've learned, because we went through the process, we didn't just take the classes through you guys, we got an agent and went through the audition process.
Yes.
And part of that process, what I've learned is rejection. Oh my God, for kids, it's so hard. I remember in the very beginning, they were like, why didn't I get it? Like, they don't understand that process. But as we go through more and more, it's just another one. And I sometimes had to tell them, well, they were looking for a girl and you're a boy. So do you think you can do the role? They're like, are you a girl? And he's like, no, then, that's why they didn't take you. They changed their mind or whatever it was. They wanted a red hair girl and you have black hair. So what business, there's just different. But learning rejection is so important. And over time, they just accepted it. It's just, okay, that's another one. And that to me was gold, because nowadays kids participate, everybody gets a trophy, a certificate, whatever. Everybody's a winner, but unfortunately, that's not how life works.
That's so right. That's right, Vanessa.
Doing it too, right? To learn to accept rejection. Just because you work hard doesn't mean you will be the winner, but just keep trying, because eventually things are going to happen. And that's a skill, I feel like, or a mindset that they acquired and learned through the process, beyond just taking acting classes, but really actually just to try out to audition.
Right. And what you said at the beginning of this is that acting really helps you with everything you do in life. I mean, everything. It can help you become student council. It can help you be a leader. It can help you be less introverted. And there's so many things about it. The rejection is a part of life, whether you're not accepted onto the dance team or, when my son was playing baseball, he's 5 years old and out comes the coach. He's on the mound pitching. Out comes the coach and it's like, nope, you out, And so, he learned early on, you're not pitching anymore, son. Sorry. Okay. But he learned early on and actors learn early on that, not to take it personal and to know that, who knows, rejection may be their protection in a way, maybe that role wasn't right for them. True. But again, it's a life lesson. And I've had to tell parents here at 321 Acting Studios, well, they're not going to get everything and you just keep showing up so what they're learning is perseverance.
Yes.
And that's important. So perseverance. And that's everything that anybody needs in life, no matter what they're going through. And that is, again, worth its weight in gold so that a child, teen, young adult will persevere, even if they get a no. I would have never been able to open the studio and be as successful as I am if I took no for an answer. I just didn't take no for an answer. It's like, what? No? Okay, well, let me find another way to get this, another way to get that. And that's perseverance. And so they will learn that.
Yeah, and I think I've learned to accept no's not as a no and the door is completely closed, but more as a not yet. That's how I try to see that.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
Because it's not meant to be yet, right? Maybe you're a good dancer, but you're not at a certain level. You're an 8, but not quite a 10 yet. Or whatever that might be. So eventually, if you continue working hard, you persevere, you just keep showing up, giving it to you all, eventually it's going to happen, right? So it's not a no, it's not personal, it's just a not yet. So it's not meant to be yet, but you will find the one thing that's yours and it will come eventually.
That's right. And then you find out, was it that you do want? Maybe you decide, well, maybe that's not for me. And I love what you told children that, well, maybe they just wanted somebody with darker hair. Or somebody, I'll tell the kids, I said, well, maybe you didn't match the mom. Maybe the mom has got blonde curly hair and you've got dark straight hair. And so it's just not a matchup. So just, keep your goal, your motivation. What is it that you want? You want to act, you want to be a cheerleader, you want to get on the football team, whatever you want to do, you want to be student council, student class president. Just, keep going. And then you learn as you go.
Yes. And also, I liked what you said earlier about improvisation. I wanted to talk a little bit about that more because I just love that so much. Besides being quick on your feet, expecting the unexpected, getting comfortable with everything. And because that's how life is. When I worked in corporate America for all these years, there's also always something and you could just freeze. I've seen people who froze once a problem arose, an obstacle, and they just couldn't move anymore. But through improv, it's kind of like, okay, here's the problem. Let's look at it from a different angle. Let's look at it upside down, sideways, from left to right, or and move on. And the game part, one of the things actually I did at corporate, when I had to do public speaking, I was actually so afraid and nervous. I hope I wasn't showing too much, but my back would hurt for 2 hours after I got off stage, so to speak, because I was just so tensed up. And then finally what happened was, in one of the classes, I took actually many public speaking classes through Disney, but none of them really changed me until I took a public speaking class with an improv twist.
Yes.
But we did a lot of improv games and training. And initially I was so afraid. Like, I remember this part where he's like, okay, you go on stage and talk about one topic for 90 seconds and somebody from the audience will tell you what to talk about. You might have no clue what it is, but you just have to sound confident and make things up. That thought alone was so nerve-wracking to me. I forgot what I had to speak about grapes or something like that. But just winging it, making things up, but continuing to think about something to say for 90 seconds was really, really hard. And then the other public speaking thing we learned was when you were talking, the rest of the audience had to pretend one was falling asleep, the other was on the phone, the third one was talking to somebody. Like, how do you deal with the audience and get them back to engage into what you have to say?
Right.
And that class turned my public speaking around. I mean, I'm still nervous, but it was
right. So what was the key to that? How did you turn that audience around, do you think? Was it just the words you said?
Actually, because before, as I was speaking, I was in my own little world. I would rattle things as fast as possible because I just wanted to get off the stage. That was my initial, like, let's just get it out, talk really fast and leave, get it done. But it's a two-way conversation, even though you're the only one talking. So one of the key, I guess, skills that he taught us was looking at them, because then they're like, oh, she's looking at me, so I better not yawn so much. Or I would engage them. Let's say somebody's on the phone and I would be like, okay, and what do you think, person in the red shirt? Right? So all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute, they're talking to me. So, well, guess what? Once you've been called out, now you're like 100% there. You're really paying attention now. So we would just practice that with each other. Of course, everything was exaggerated, so it was a lot more fun doing that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yes, it to me, that really turned my public speaking experience around.
Right. Because, like I mentioned rocket scientists earlier in the podcast but the rocket scientist is going to know their content when they're presenting, when they're at a public speaking event. They're going to know their content, but and the people are, they may remember the content, but what they're going to remember is the way are his feelings about it, his passion. That's what they're going to remember. And that's what improv will teach you, to not only reach the audience, but move them towards what you want them to become passionate about, what you want to, have them think. And so that's why the improv with your improv teacher there for public speaking really helped you, because you and also, just to rattle on about grapes, but you can even be nonsensical and make no sense, but it's the idea that you're having fun, you're engaging the audience, asking questions. I was always taught as a performer, if we're not not to break the fourth wall, look above their heads. But if you're breaking the fourth wall when you're a presenter, when you're doing public speaking, I think it's a good idea to really look at your audience. And I was always taught to look at your cheerleaders. Don't look at the people with the frowns on their faces. Stay with the people that are engaging with you, and that'll help you.
That's why I'm such a huge fan of improv. I mean, I don't think that could be my job, but I love watching it. It's just so much fun. It's
such a good emotional outlet. I'm sure you had fun in that improv class. It's a stress release to be able to get up there in front of people and then to start, like you said, start to feel comfortable.
Yeah. And to me, it's like a little bit. So instead of, I think what I've learned after taking that improv public speaking class is, instead of writing everything out and just remembering the things I said, I learned just to take bullet points and wing the rest. So the bullet points really just help me. It's like this red string on my GPS, so to speak. So at least I kind of have an idea which route to take, and it guides me. But at the end of the day, everything I'm saying should be coming very natural, because if I sound too rehearsed, people know. And that's what improv has helped me too.
Yes. Yeah. You want the bullet points because there's your content, but it's the way you deliver it. Just being yourself, learning to trust your instincts, learning to know that you are unique, you are interesting. And that's what acting teaches, is that each actor, each child is unique, and they learn what is special about them. This is what you are special. And that's what I love about teaching acting.
I mean, the kids learn, like we said, improvisation. I know your program talks about auditioning. The process, right? And I wanted to talk about that. To me, the way I see audition is like an interview. You're going to have to interview for your first job. You have to interview for your promotion and your next promotion. Corporate or your career is no longer where you do a good job and you get promoted. That happened in the very early stages of my life, but eventually it's like, nope, even though it's kind of your role already, the next step, you still have to interview for it. So no matter what, you have to interview. And, some of the little things, the little nuances, like shaking somebody else's hand, having a firm grip, looking them in the eye, actually. Saying hello. Because nowadays, everybody's so just stuck to their phone or their electronic devices. kids don't know how to look up and look people in the eyes anymore. So that's what I loved about them learning. Okay, I have to go in, walk with confidence, shake their hands, look them in the eye and say something and start a little bit of a conversation with some energy and a smile instead of just hello or just be quiet and walk along, right? So
That's right.
Learning and preparing for an interview in the future is so, so important.
So important. Corporate, corporate is a tough world, and it's even gotten tougher. And you're right. You don't just move up the ladder like you used to.
Nope.
I talk to my friends, and they're evaluated every 2 days. They have to tell somebody what they did over the last 2 days, and they're evaluated quite a bit. And so you do need to have those presentation skills where you can talk well about yourself. Not ego. It's not an ego trip. It's just talking well. And that's another thing we teach here. So, it's not a conceited ego. It's a healthy ego. So you learn to talk well about yourself. What is good about you? What is that? What can you offer the world at large?
Absolutely. You need to learn to toot your horn just a little bit. Because if you're too quiet, nobody knows all the great things you've done, all the long hours you put in. But once in a while, you just need to be very tactful about sliding in the ideas you brought in or everything, process improvements you came up with. And you need to know how to sell yourself a little bit. I actually read a book once because I always considered selling, it has such a negative connotation.
Doesn't it? And it shouldn't, because we are all selling ourselves every day. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but no, the truth of I tell my students that when they go to an audition, they're there to give. They're there to give of themselves. And when they have an interview, you want to care about the other person. Be there for them. Don't worry about yourself so much. Come in with a compliment. Gee, it's a really nice view from up here. I really like the color of that couch. What is that? Would you call that an avocado green? I mean, have some fun with it, but start with a compliment and be there for them. That's what good manners are all about, is caring for the other person. So if I tell them to really be there for the interviewer, then they can maybe get out of their head a little bit so much, Go in and what can you give them?
No, it's a good point. I totally agree with you. I used to think selling is not good, but I changed my mind.
Everybody's negotiating all the time, all day long.
Yes.
We're all negotiating. So why not negotiate in your favor? As long as you are giving something to somebody else. So you're offering them something too. It's a win-win. So people like people who like them. So if you're complimenting the other person, not only are you making them feel good, you get to feel good too, because you're complimenting, and then hopefully you'll get what you want, like that promotion.
Yes. I actually wanted to talk about career specifically, right? I don't know, I'm pretty sure you keep in touch with a lot of your former students and know what they're up to and what they're doing right now. But from all these years, right, seeing them grow up and going through your program and just observing what careers they've entered into, how do you think, or what have you seen where acting helped them in different careers? So maybe we can talk a little bit about their future and how acting can help them with that.
Sure. I love when people stay in touch with me, and I've had people, prior students, who have contacted me after college and say they've got a great job in marketing or advertising. I've had people call me and say, I now, I'm a kindergarten teacher, and, the skills that I've learned here have really helped me through that. And I've also had students that, have been on the spectrum and that were LD, learning disabled, and who have gone on to do commercials and some small parts. And also, those are some of my favorite success stories where, I get to see them where they've really, really moved on and are doing so well in life, whether they've become a painter, an artist themselves, or whether they're in the corporate world, as you mentioned.
Yes. And I think there's so many different things. I mean, even, for example, you mentioned kindergarten teacher, but if you're a college professor or a high school teacher, I think acting would help you because you have to interact with the kids that you're teaching, right? With your audience. As an adult, I remember my more interesting teachers, the ones with humors, the ones who I was able to get along with versus the really boring ones, because when they're really boring, I didn't tend to learn much or pay
No.
attention.
Yeah, my
right?
son always learned better with teachers that would engage and be outgoing, and that would be interesting, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And now I have to look at the new careers that come up. I find it so interesting that so many kids tell me nowadays, I want to be a YouTube star, or I want to do online marketing. And both of my kids are getting into, well, my son got into YouTube, as you know.
Yes.
And he launched his YouTube channel in the summer of 2020, and she just launched hers early in 2021, sharing her love of Chinese and maybe Korean drama and what have you. So I guess I'm telling her,
Nice.
because in my mind, it's like, to me, it's not about for them to be on social media. That's not my intention, but really more the communication part. Because when you create a YouTube channel, you have to talk. If you sound really boring, or you have no energy, or don't know how to engage your audience, or whatever it is, too many different things, it's not interesting. So it's a way for them to learn how to balance the being too scripted and also being themselves and adding the flavor of their own personality, right?
You know, you need to even be a little bigger, give it a little bit more energy. So those are the kind of things that also acting training will develop, and you'll just become more natural at it. And that's the natural, believable quality that will get you ahead. Will get you ahead.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the online platform, it is on camera. And so there's another reason to take acting where, you know, do you blink your eyes too much? Do you have funny looks on your faces? You know, so that with our playback after every class here at 321, you know, they'll be able to see, are there some funny habits that they want to get rid of? Or, you know, are they shrugging their shoulders? Are they moving around too much? So those are also skills that they'll learn here is on camera acting. That's what we are, an on camera acting school.
And I know besides improv, you also teach other classes. So let's talk about scripted scene work for a little bit. What do students learn here? And how would that benefit them in their real lives?
So what we teach in terms of techniques is how to break down their scenes. And we want our students to determine what is their character? What is their character's primary goal? What does the character want in the scene? What's motivating them? What drives them to get what they want? So in preparation, our students must answer these questions. Following up, I'll tell you what these questions are in order to deliver a believable performance. So examples are, who am I? Here's an example. I'm a teen girl whose family is poor. I'm in love with Ryan. I lied that I have a beautiful dress to wear to the prom. So what do I want? Well, I want to borrow my friend's prom dress. Where am I? I'm in my best friend's kitchen. So this is all part of the breaking down of the scene. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to her snobby mom. The more specific, the better. That's why, who am I? I'm a teen girl whose family's poor. I'm in love with Ryan. The more that the actor knows about the character, again, the more believable it'll be. And why do I want what I want? I'm afraid Ryan will find out that I lied, cast me out, and my life will be ruined. So high stakes. What if I don't get what I want? Oh my goodness, my life will be ruined. What's my obstacle? What is getting in the way of what I want? Well, it's her mom. So here's another question that's key. How do I plan to get what I want? I'm going to figure out a way to get her mom to get out of the house and leave so that I can go into her friend's room and grab the dress. So these are some really basic must techniques that the students learn. And what it teaches them is to set goals and learn to communicate their feelings, wants, needs, and ideas to an audience. So this not only helps the actor, but it helps students in general. So let's say they're going in for an interview for college, or they're going in for an interview for a job. They need to know what they want, who they're talking to, how do they plan to get what they want. So acting techniques are fabulous for just life in general.
Oh my goodness, this is so true. Knowing what you want, assessing the facts, and finding ways to achieve your goals are definitely applicable to all areas of your life. And I wanted to wrap this up with just hearing about maybe 2 or 3, depends on what you want to share, of your most memorable transformations. And you could walk us through how they started, what they've learned, maybe some obstacles they overcame, and what came out at the other end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Yes. one of the young ladies that came to us was on the spectrum. She wanted to do the Showcase Acting Career program, and I was a little hesitant.
Yeah.
They have to be approved by me in order to get into the program.
Sure.
We just don't let them in. And but I watched her. I worked with her, and I thought she had. I'm not going to underestimate. I'm going to go ahead and let her in. I'm going to work very hard with her. And I did. And again, being LD, learning disabled, doesn't live on her own. She doesn't live on her own, still lives with parents. And she's in her, I think she's probably almost 30 now. At that time, she was in her middle 20s. And she ended up booking a large campaign, a national brand.
Wow.
A national brand. And I went to her birthday party about, I think last year. This national brand, the commercial ran for like 6 years.
Wow.
And so she shows me, hey, Miss Mae, I want to show you my contracts. So she's showing me her contracts over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
See, one $49,000, $55,000. These.
God.
Oh my goodness, Vanessa! These national commercials, if they're union commercials, they make so much money. And I thought, here's this dear, sweet, wonderful sweetheart. She used to bring me cookies, and she'd bring things for Valentine's Day for everybody. And she was just wonderful. I mean, she took the bus here, and for her to have that national campaign, I didn't think I took a chance on her. She wanted to do it, and I wanted to fulfill her dreams, and that is very rewarding to see.
That sounds amazing.
It's amazing to see all of it. I had another teen, and the mother came in and said, she doesn't have any friends. She sits in her room. She didn't feel like she wasn't attractive at all, blah, 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 the whole thing. And another story where I put her into, after studying here for about 3 or 4 months, I thought, she's ready. We can get her ready for the Showcase Acting Career program. And in she went and got an agent, and then started doing some work. And she had braces, Coke bottle glasses. And we thought, this is, you think, I don't know if this is going to work. And then it works. And I just love to see it. What worked more than anything with her is that she became, more outgoing and trusted herself, and got friends and has really developed. She went to college, a good college. She came back, and she's back studying with us and everything. And she's a different person. She's just a different person, just transformed.
Wow.
Transformed. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think that's so important, right? It's these success stories. Really, and
then, she went to college. So, she does her acting, but she's also pursuing other walks of life and other careers. But she knows that, she can act when she wants, and she can make it as a hobby also. And what her acting is complementing her other career.
Yes.
Her careers. Right. Mm-hmm.
This was great. I really enjoyed catching up with you. And I wanted to, also share with our listeners, in case they wanted to learn a little bit more about 3-to-1 Acting School, or more about you, Miss Mae. Like, how can they find you? And especially now, everything's online, so they don't have to drive to LA in case they're listening.
No, they don't.
Right?
Yes.
So how can they find you?
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, we are 321actingstudios.com, just like it sounds. The number is 321actingstudios.com. We have gone on 100% online, and go to our website. We offer a free trial class. So your first class is free, and you come in and you get to take the class right online. We have gone global. I invite you to come take a free class and try it out. 321actingstudios.com. That is us. And I'm Miss Mae Ross. And you can also call or text us at 818-275-2740. I hope I said that right. But what a pleasure to talk to you today, Vanessa. I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the time. Hope you enjoyed this conversation with Mae Ross, founder of 321 Acting Studios here in Los Angeles, just as much as I did. My children had a great time learning valuable life lessons and soft skills that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. What fun and unconventional classes will you consider taking to learn soft skills that will come in handy in your bright future? And now make sure to subscribe to our podcast or add us to your favorite list if you haven't done so. Until next time, bye!